Yo guys, welcome back to another video. Today in this video I'm going to be showing you how to get more points in solo cash cups and arena. So let's get straight into it. Okay boys, this first tip I have for you is probably the basis of most of the other tips to come. This is something called tilting. What this means is after a mistake or death in Fortnite, you let it affect you, and when you go into another game, that tilt you just had affects how you play in a negative manner. May that be a bad edit or a bad shot, it has lots of variety, but it's not good for a tournament at all. One silly mistake with a bad tilt attitude could cost you the game, if not the whole tournament. There isn't really a set way to get rid of this from your gameplay, but what I do in them situations is think about how I could have won the fight. E.g., someone got in my box through a phase wall trick and killed me. What I could have done is edited out the side and built up a 90 to protect myself from him. Once I've done that, I will back out and take the death into consideration for the new games if it happens again. And please, please, please don't let a die affect you. You can rage all you want, but just put it behind you once you're finished. Okay boys, this leads on to my next tip, which is the VOD review. This is highly important, but a lot of you still out there cease to do so. You don't have to stream to look back over your clips, just jump into a replay from one of your previous games, and there you go. Even if you're watching your favourite streamer, examine how they play their game, and their do's and don'ts, the mistakes they make and what they don't. You may be wondering what VOD actually means though, and how you do it. It simply means video on demand, and all you need to do it, again, hop in a replay, and you want to examine how you played that game and what worked and what didn't. You could do this for hours and hours, but if you don't take into consideration what you just reviewed, it is a good waste of time. So when you see something good that happened, note it down in your head or on some paper, and occasionally when you get into that situation again, let's say someone's trying to get into your box, you can have the advantage over the other player and know what skills work and know what don't. So I hope you consider making this change. It is very good to VOD review. So let's get on to our next tip. Now on to some more of the mechanical side of Fortnite, and that is to go into creative and just practice building, editing and aiming, all that sort of stuff. Although this isn't directly linked to cash cups and arena, but for all tournaments I go in either a creative field, box fights, or just an empty map and crank. You never know when one build can make the difference in a game that you learned whilst making the most of your time, and it helps you get into the frame of mind before games, all that sort of stuff. I highly recommend this, even though it's not directly linked. Next up is to practice box fighting. This is so important in cash cups. Late game you will most definitely be finding at least 10 people, 6th or 7th zone, maybe even 8 if you're lucky. An easy way to get used to them situations is to play box fights. These help to improve editing, aiming, building, all that in just one map. There are hundreds of box fighting maps out there, so choose your favourite one, hop in with some friends with a similar ability, and then once you've played them box fights, take that knowledge into account. And when you play your next cash cup, remember, you don't want to put too much stress on yourself. So imagine it is just a box fight, and if you lose, you lose. Don't stress yourself out with it. Just keep on practicing box fights, and you'll most definitely get better. The next tip I'm going to give you is about game sense. This means how you play a game, what shots to take, how to kill someone who's 100, etc. Everything that occurs in a game is usually game sense, and it usually comes with how much you play the game. If you have more hours, you'll know how to play the game easier and smarter. But it's very good because you know what skills work, what skills don't, and it's extremely important in cash cups. If you're on low points, take the chance to get easy kills in bot lobbies. As you work your way up the rank, you'll get matched with harder and harder players. So placement will be the smarter option, getting more points for less hardness, should I say. And when you're fighting, you'll need the perfect example of this, Benji fishing. You always make sure there is no way the player is fighting to escape. Once he is in their box, you're securing the elim by walling them off so they can't escape. This is all to do in your mind when you're going through that stage. So just make sure them questions in your head, are you doing them? Again, thinking about Solo Cash Cup, try and avoid mid-game fights as much as you possibly can. You want to conserve as many mats for the late game, and you know, late game is where you're going to get the most kills, the most placement. So try and make that the most effective part of your game. Game sense is the make or break sometimes. But if you can make the right decisions, you can mainly do anything within Fortnite, and especially Solo Cash Cups if you know the right thing to do. So when you next get into a Solo Cash Cup games, remain calm, positive, and think before you take a fight. Is it worth it? Where is Storm heading? What match do I have? Think about all this stuff before getting into a fight. This could be how you win games and how you lose games. Late game, remember what you learn from box fighting and put it into there, and don't worry if you die. Just keep going and take your chances. Also, don't look at the leaderboards until late on, so you don't have any competition keeping you calm. With all this, you should place good, but always keep up the grind too, getting better at the game with your mechanics, aiming. You won't just sit in a bush and win the whole thing. So I hope you enjoyed this thing, guys. If this does quite well, I might be doing some more stuff like this, examining what pros do to get better in the Cash Cups, and give you some more tips. Without going on, thank you for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and see you all next time. Goodbye.